Are you trapped in a loop where your boyfriend yells at you over small things, and you're wondering why? Welcome, dear reader. You're not alone, and the first thing to realize is that this is an issue that extends far beyond those small things. But don't despair. Our comprehensive guide is here to shed light on the complexities involved and offer you constructive steps to tackle this troubling dynamic. Understanding why your boyfriend yells at you over trivial matters is not merely about pinpointing his shortcomings or flaws. It's about delving into the underlying psychology, the power dynamics, and the emotional environment surrounding your relationship. Does that sound intimidating? Trust me, it's easier than you think. Whether your boyfriend's behavior falls into the category of emotional abuse or simply poor communication, the goal here is to give you the tools you need to assess the situation and make informed decisions. No one deserves to be yelled at or mistreated in a relationship. Your emotional well-being is paramount. As a caveat, every relationship is unique, and while some general principles apply, not every piece of advice will resonate with everyone. Yet, the insights we offer are grounded in psychological research and real-life experiences, adding a layer of authenticity to our suggestions. So buckle up. If your boyfriend yells at you over small things, this may be your wake-up call to take your emotional destiny into your own hands. If you are in a physically or emotionally abusive relationship, seek professional help immediately. This article is not a substitute for expert advice in severe situations. Understanding the dynamics, the power play in relationships. The phrase, "boyfriend yells at me over small things," automatically sends alarm bells ringing in the domain of power dynamics. Power plays can be subtle, but they're often deeply rooted in the relationship's fabric. Understanding these dynamics isn't about accusing your boyfriend of being a power-hungry villain. It's about recognizing that power imbalances can have serious consequences. Why do people want power in relationships? There's no one-size-fits-all answer. For some, it might be an urge to control, stemming from insecurities or past traumas. For others, it may be an unconscious mimicry of relationships they've witnessed in their families or social circles. The need to dominate can sometimes spring from a skewed notion of masculinity or strength, too. A 2019 study published in the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships suggests that perceived power imbalances in relationships are linked to lower relationship satisfaction. This isn't too surprising. If you're feeling powerless because your boyfriend yells at you over small things, you're less likely to be happy in the relationship. Simple as that. But don't confuse power with control. A person may be in a powerful career position or socially dominant but may not be controlling in a relationship. Therefore, assess your boyfriend's behavior in the context of your relationship, not just his external status. Focus on how he treats you, especially in conflicts. If you're trying to figure out the power dynamic, look for patterns. Does he always have to have the final say? Is he dismissive of your opinions? Does he frequently interrupt you, belittle you, or mock your achievements? These could be signs that the power balance is tilted unfavorably. Remember, a balanced relationship isn't necessarily 50-50 in power distribution at all times, but it should even out in the grand scheme of things. If you find yourself continually cowering because your boyfriend yells at you over small things, it's time to address the power imbalance. The psychological aspect, is it you or him? So let's delve into the psychology of it all. When your boyfriend yells at you over small things, it's natural to wonder, is it me, or is it him? First off, let me clear the air. It's never acceptable for someone to regularly yell at their partner over inconsequential matters. That's a reflection of their emotional state, not your worth. Now that we've established that, let's explore further. A report by the American Psychological Association, APA, indicates that people who are prone to outbursts often struggle with emotional regulation. For some, this could be due to past experiences, mental health issues, or even physiological factors. Therefore, your boyfriend's yelling might be more about him than it is about you. However, this doesn't absolve us from introspection. In some cases, relationship dynamics develop into a cycle where both parties contribute to dysfunction. Do you find yourself walking on eggshells to avoid triggering him? Are you inadvertently reinforcing his behavior by not setting boundaries? Reflecting on these questions can offer crucial insights. Moreover, consider the broader emotional climate of the relationship. Does he also demonstrate affection, remorse, or a willingness to change? While these aspects don't excuse the behavior, they can add nuanced context. Relationships involve two people, both contributing to the overall emotional temperature. But remember, emotional complexity should never serve as a camouflage for abuse. It's often helpful to journal your experiences and feelings. Write down instances where your boyfriend yells at you over small things and how it makes you feel. Not only does this process provide clarity, but it also serves as evidence should you opt for couples therapy or even legal action down the line. The psychological aspect of why your boyfriend yells is multifaceted. Don't jump to blame yourself, but do take time to reflect on the broader relationship dynamics. This understanding can be an essential step in deciding your next move. 4 red flags you can't ignore when your boyfriend yells. If you find that your boyfriend yells at you over small things, there are some glaring red flags that you absolutely cannot ignore. Remember the catchy title? Well, it wasn't just for show. Let's break it down. Firstly, consistency is key, but not in a good way here. If these outbursts are more the rule than the exception, you're staring at a big, crimson flag. An isolated incident could perhaps be excused, but a pattern of behavior usually points to a deeper issue. Secondly, take note if he only yells at you, but acts like an angel with everyone else. If you're the only target of his emotional outbursts, it indicates a significant issue. This selective yelling suggests that he's aware of his actions but chooses to subject you to this behavior, further emphasizing the power imbalance. Thirdly, how does he react afterward? Does he recognize the error in his ways and show genuine remorse, or does he deflect the blame onto you? Accountability is a cornerstone of a healthy relationship. If he's consistently failing to take responsibility, that's a flag of the scarlet variety. Fourthly, look at your own reactions. Are you constantly making excuses for him? Oh, he's stressed out at work, or, he didn't mean it, he's just tired. If you're continually making allowances for his behavior, you're not just doing him a disservice, but yourself as well. Red flags are called that for a reason. They're warning signals that something's awry. If you're dealing with one or more of these issues, it's time to reevaluate your relationship seriously. And before we move on, remember that while these red flags are vital indicators, they're not exhaustive. Trust your intuition. If something feels off, it probably is. Communication? The missing link? Communication. The magical word that appears in nearly every relationship advice column. But, don't roll your eyes just yet. There's a reason why it's considered a cornerstone of healthy relationships. In the context of a boyfriend who yells at you over small things, inadequate communication could be the chink in your relationship's armor. Effective communication isn't just about talking. It's about listening, understanding, and acting. If your boyfriend is yelling, chances are one or more of these elements are missing. Maybe he's not hearing what you're saying, or perhaps you're both talking past each other. The point is, poor communication could be fueling the fire. Start with the basics. Do you both speak the same love language? If you're not familiar, the concept of love languages is a theory by Dr. Gary Chapman, suggesting that people express and receive love in 5 different ways: words of affirmation, acts of service, quality time, physical touch, and gifts. If you're not aligned, your messages of love might be getting lost in translation, adding unnecessary stress. But wait, there's more. Communication isn't just verbal, it's also nonverbal. Body language, tone of voice, and even facial expressions can send powerful messages. So, if your boyfriend is yelling, look beyond just the words. What is his body language telling you? What's your gut feeling? Also, timing is crucial. Trying to resolve issues in the heat of an argument usually doesn't end well. Instead, wait for tempers to cool down before broaching sensitive subjects. The objective is to open lines of dialogue, not add fuel to the fire. Lastly, if you've tried and failed at communicating effectively, don't lose hope. Sometimes, seeking the help of a neutral third party like a relationship counselor can do wonders. They can help pinpoint your communication pitfalls and offer practical solutions. So yes, communication might indeed be the missing link. Investing in improving this skill could transform your relationship from a battlefield to a sanctuary. Setting boundaries, the ultimate game changer. Boundaries are non-negotiables that you establish to protect your emotional, psychological, and physical well-being. When your boyfriend yells at you over small things, you may feel disoriented or question your worth. That's where setting boundaries comes into play as a monumental game changer. First, identify what's acceptable and what's not. Make a list if you must. Are you okay with raised voices but not with name-calling? Are you fine with heated discussions but not screaming matches? Clearly delineate these boundaries for yourself first, and then communicate them to your partner. While setting boundaries is crucial, enforcing them is just as important. If your boyfriend crosses a boundary, you must act. This could be as simple as saying, "If you yell at me, this conversation is over," and then leaving the room. You're sending a clear message that you won't tolerate behavior that crosses your boundaries. Keep in mind that boundaries are not just for you, they also benefit your partner. They provide a clear framework within which he can understand the limits and work on his behavior. Not to mention, it also improves the overall health of the relationship by introducing mutual respect. Let's not underestimate the power of the written word. Sometimes writing down your boundaries and having your boyfriend read them can be a potent exercise. This written document acts as a relationship contract of sorts, reminding both of you of what's acceptable and what's not. Setting boundaries won't be easy. It requires courage, emotional intelligence, and consistency. But the peace of mind and improved relationship dynamics that come with it are worth the struggle. How to approach him, do's and don'ts. So you've recognized the problem, seen the red flags, and set your boundaries. Now, how do you approach your boyfriend about his yelling? Conversations like these are often emotionally charged and can escalate quickly. Here are some do's and don'ts to guide you. Do. Choose an appropriate time and setting. Don't bring up the issue during a party or while he's focused on a stressful work task. You want his full attention and an environment conducive to a serious conversation. Don't. Use accusatory language. Stick to I statements that express how his yelling affects you. Instead of saying, "You make me feel belittled when you yell," say, "I feel belittled when you yell." Do. Be clear and concise. Lay out specific instances where he yelled, how it made you feel, and what boundaries were crossed. Use the journal you've been keeping, if applicable. Don't. Bring up past grievances that are unrelated. This will only distract from the issue at hand and could escalate the situation further. Do. Give him a chance to speak and explain his side of things. This is a dialogue, not a monologue. His input may offer you additional insight into the dynamics of your relationship. Don't tolerate any form of abuse during this conversation. If he resorts to yelling, name-calling, or worse, you have your answer about whether or not he respects your boundaries.